Welcome to This Explainer, where we're going to break down exactly how you can turn raw inspiration into concrete action in today's insanely fast-paced AI world. You know, we are all absolutely drowning in great ideas, endless newsletters, and brilliant podcasts. Yet so many of those incredible thoughts just quietly disappear into the forgotten ether of our minds, don't they? Well, today, we are exploring a really powerful system called the One Idea Action Pack. It was developed by the team at Wisdoms, who are the creators of the Difference Makers in Every City project. And what this system does is actually pretty incredible. It identifies the exact type of idea you have, applies a highly specialized framework, reveals hidden opportunities, and even estimates the potential value creation. Ultimately, it takes those vague frustrations, casual observations, and opportunities and transforms them into practical experiments and actionable plans you might never have considered.
So let's take a quick look at our roadmap for today. We'll be moving through 1. The Warp Speed Challenge. 2. Crossing the Anxiety Gap. 3. Meet the Idea Refinery. 4. Paths to Real Action. 5. Why Killing Ideas Matters. And we'll wrap up with number 6, your 24-hour commitment.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, the Warp Speed Challenge. To set the stage here, a mastermind group of AI thought leaders recently looked at the sheer volume of progress made over a mere 4-week period, and the only phrase they could find to describe it was utterly insane. A full decade of technological progress now literally feels like it's been compressed into a single week. The ground is quite literally moving while we're trying to walk on it, leaving so many of us feeling completely breathless just trying to keep up with the news cycle.
The milestones we are hitting right now are just staggering. We are seeing traditional release cycles shift from taking years down to mere days. You've got China's Kimi K3 delivering frontier-level performance at about 1% of Western costs. We are watching machines perform the equivalent of 2 years of expert human coding in just 8 days. So, the absolutely crucial point to take away here is that AI isn't just some static tool you learn once and check off a list. It's a constantly evolving landscape. Education can never really stop because every single prompt reveals a brand new capability. Navigating this new reality requires an insatiable curiosity and a commitment to daily experimentation.
Moving on to Section 2, Crossing the Anxiety Gap.
We all know that incredibly heavy feeling, right? You're staring at a blank notebook, totally overwhelmed by this massive, great idea, but you are utterly terrified to take the very first step. Well, there's a name for that. It's called execution anorexia, or the anxiety gap. It happens because an idea bouncing around in your head just feels way too big, too messy, or simply too risky to even touch, which ultimately paralyzes you from taking any action at all.
You see, as a culture, we are basically suffering from information gluttony. Reading about a cool new concept gives our brains a totally fake sense of progress. It releases this little dopamine hit that makes us feel like we've achieved something just by passively consuming the content. But here is the hard truth. Real value only emerges when we actually cross the bridge from being addicted to that passive dopamine hit to processing those ideas and becoming an active architect who builds real-world solutions.
And there are a few very specific psychological traps that widen this gap for us. First, there's the blank page paralysis, where you just don't know what the first logical step is. Should you build a website, call a lawyer, write a social post? Then there's the perfectionist trap, where you absolutely refuse to move forward until the idea is flawless in your mind. And finally, the scale illusion, where you mistakenly believe that if you don't have 1 million users by tomorrow, the whole thing is a failure. These traps are dangerous because they turn your unrefined ideas into the most expensive waste in the world, leaving them to just quietly vanish into the forgotten corners of your mind.
Let's look at Section 3, Meet the Idea Refinery. So, how do we fix this? Well, think of the One Idea Action Pack as your very own digital chief of staff. Like we mentioned earlier, it identifies the exact type of idea you have, applies a highly specialized framework, and points out opportunities you probably missed. It essentially acts like a massive industrial furnace for your thoughts. It takes those vague flashes of inspiration and directs them through a highly structured filtration logic to produce a practical roadmap designed entirely for you.
The core philosophy driving this is actually beautifully simple. Value is created through throughput optimization. Imagine taking raw ore, which represents your messy, unformed thoughts, and passing it through a standardized filter to forge high-value steel. Instead of just sitting around waiting for a rare stroke of genius to hit, successful creators use this exact principle. They systematically refine their chaotic ideas into high-resolution, professional strategic assets.
Now this number, 12, is pretty significant here.
It represents the 12-page action pack framework. What this 12-page framework does is replace the crushing anxiety of overthinking with the sheer confidence of a stress-tested, structured process. And it's not about just generating some generic report, it's about producing a highly practical roadmap designed specifically for the exact kind of idea you're trying to get off the ground.
And the system accomplishes this by forcing you to ask the hard questions. What problem does this idea really solve? Who actually benefits from it? What is the absolute smallest experiment that could test it in the real world? By pushing you to answer these, the One Idea Action Pack effectively separates your initial emotional excitement from actual, hard evidence. It ensures that every worthwhile idea gets a fair, objective hearing before you spend a single cent or waste months of your life. Because, as it turns out, progress usually doesn't come from finding better answers, but from asking better questions.
Which brings us to Section 4, Paths to Real Action.
The absolute beauty of this facility is its total adaptability to wherever you are right now. If you're bootstrapping, you can do a solo run, using the framework as a mental checklist for zero cost. If you want speed, you can leverage an AI for an agentic draft in about 10 minutes. Or, if you're gearing up to pitch investors and need it perfect, you can opt for the Premium Concierge Pack, starting at around 1,500 Rand, where the Wisdoms team steps in to refine it to a professional standard. Basically, the facility scales exactly to what you immediately need.
But hey, if you are still feeling trapped in that anxiety gap, here is your absolute simplest path forward. We call it the 15-minute voice-to-pack experiment. Just pick that one idea that's been nagging at you, record a casual 3-minute brain dump on your phone. Just talk like you're chatting with a friend. Then let AI transcribe it, feed it into the prompts, and your only goal is finding one tiny, zero-cost experiment. It's amazing how quickly this collapses that overwhelming anxiety into a single, doable action step.
This maps out perfectly onto a 30-day roadmap. Because the crucial thing to remember is that success in month 1 isn't about launching a massive, fully formed corporation. It's simply about moving from passive reading to gathering real-world evidence. Week 1, you select your idea. Week 2, you test its weaknesses. Week 3, you run a tiny probe, literally something as simple as sending 3 emails. And week 4, you review the data. It's all about safe, structured momentum.
That takes us to Section 5, Why Killing Ideas Matters.
I want you to really consider this concept for a second. You don't own an idea until you've designed its failure. Most of us think ownership just means having a great idea in the first place. But if you don't know exactly why your idea might fail, that unexamined idea actually owns you. It ties up your precious time, your hope, and your anxiety, effectively holding you hostage to a fantasy.
And that brings us to the magic number 48. Being able to actively kill a bad idea within 48 hours for absolutely zero cost is a massive, massive victory. It is not a failure. It saves you thousands of dollars and months of wasted life. Remember, avoided loss is profit. The refinery isn't just there to help you find the gold. It's heavily designed to stop you from spending years mining for dirt. Finally, Section 6, Your 24-Hour Commitment.
The true purpose of this explainer, and honestly the One Idea Action Pack itself, has never been to just fill your head with more entertaining information. We have enough of that. The goal is to help you dig through the noise and discover that single spark, that one idea that genuinely deserves to become something real and impactful in your life or your community.
So here is your immediate commitment. I challenge you to do this right now. Go to your saved folders or your start emails, find that one brilliant idea you bookmarked a month ago and then completely forgot about. Email it to yourself right now with the subject line, Refinery Task 1. By taking this tiny, concrete step, you are signaling to yourself that you are done just playing business. You're saying the refinery doors are officially open.
The bridge from thought to action is right there waiting for you. The AI tools are ready to collaborate. So the only question left to answer is this. Will you remain a passive collector of knowledge, just watching your ideas quietly fade away? Or will you step up, leverage the One Idea Action Pack, and become an unstoppable architect of action? The choice is entirely yours. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I truly can't wait to see what you build.